Thank you to Alan, Philip, and Rocio and Bauhaus Erde team for inviting me. I am actually I'm not a practitioner, but an anthropologist. So, in fact, my métier is to observe and be a fly on the wall. So this conference has given me an amazing opportunity to do so, particularly an opportunity to understand how the natural sciences and social sciences can speak to each other through the medium of the built environment, of architecture. And just to kind of pick up on some of the discussion from yesterday and from today, I think the question that came up earlier was around systematization and chaos. Is something that might be picked up in this panel. I'm hoping because this panel focuses on the idea of unsettlement, which is fundamental, the kind of ground zero, the condition from which we're beginning this discussion about re-entanglement, re-engagement, and so forth. And so far, I think this is the panel that will address what happens in conditions that are fundamentally both unknown as well as unknowable, conditions of great uncertainty. And another sort of really interesting aspect of this particular panel is that it brings together these situations in which people live through vulnerability and chaos, but they're not often thought together. For example, the problems of informality, the problems of humanitarian crises resulting from conflict, and the problems resulting from natural disasters. So these conditions, they share something of the conditions of uncertainty that we all face as human beings. However, they are often separated into different silos. So people, for example, that Sheila will speak about, who live in very precarious built environments with very little infrastructure and services, they confront this uncertainty on a daily basis and yet produce societies, produce peace, produce a quality of life for themselves and for society as a whole. Whereas we also have Professor Ban, who will speak about conditions of naturally induced disasters, perhaps, and the situations in which people find themselves after a disaster are very, very similar, in fact, to the ones that people who live in informal settlements all over the world navigate on a daily basis. And I think this panel also might address the question of temporality, which is something that the temporality of change, something that is very important, that has underlined many of the discussions so far. The terms in which we think about change, the very long term of systematic change versus the very short term of responses to war, to conflict, to disasters, to displacement.